as they're leaving the trails, getting to horse riders and on Little Prairie as well.
And we
And
have
you're already
semis.
not.
Got a lot of cars going 60.
How about out of county
And
road?
we have semis.
Yeah, exactly. How about county road compared to that?
Everything going to county road.
You know what? Here's the deal. There's all kinds of different traffic moving up and down the road, folks. The Amish, go up north a little ways.
We're not up there.
Okay, I understand we're not up north. But when you have places like Wisconsin Dells right downtown open to ATV, UTVs right on the main drag, and you're talking about Tamarack Road, that's where you live, right? Tamarack Road. I realize there's horses there, they've been there all my life.
There's even more than that.
Well, that's a good thing, it's becoming more popular. But guess what? ATV and UTV is the fastest growing sporting type thing going on right now.
I'm all for it if you guys can be responsible. I don't have a problem if you can be responsible about that.
That's a hell of a thing to say. You know, hey,
Man.
welcome neighbor. Well, I don't know how many people cut across my hayfield with their horses. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
How fast they going, Blaine?
Doesn't matter. Every time a horse puts its foot down in one of my fields, it takes up a little sod and a sandberg grows
Yeah,
there.
but look at the fresh manure you get.
Yeah, I get it. But responsible, you know, I think,
Yeah.
you know, Frank's absolutely right. All you gotta do, I don't understand what kind of research we have to do as a town because there's enough research out there. I mean, there's places where there's zero problem. I mean, absolute zero problem. Yeah, they're all around us.
Right. Here's another thing, the cost of the signage. There's no cost to the town. Dave Pearden and I have been working together on this. What did you say today, Bob, or when you came in here tonight? Bob, there's approximately, what, 1,000 to 1,500 it looks like is coming our way for signage for the town roads. Huh?
Yeah, already 500, 2 other clubs are willing to give another 500. And that's not counting the Palmetto bike swimmers.
Right, the town's not gonna have to pay for the signs. Okay. So I just want people to know that. Does anybody have any questions of me?
Do you have a copy of that?
Frank, I have a question. I know you speak for like members who belong to the ATV group, but this will be open up to people who don't belong to the group?
Well, yeah, it'll be a state law, just like anybody driving a truck through town.
I mean, you had said as a group, you kind of monitor everyone, you know.
Well, we police ourselves, that's a good question, Bob.
Yeah, but you won't be able to police those.
Well,
The
no.
reason I'm asking is because you know where, what we used to call Hawkins Road, Crossroad, Hawkins Road.
Yeah.
Got a field down there and not that long ago, someone went into a nicely sown field with a four-wheeler and tore it all up. And my renter was not very happy with it because it was new seating. But because it was desolate, just a road nobody else lives on, it was like open season, hey, let's go in here and try things out, and it was just all torn up. So, but I was just wondering, how do you monitor that? Because people won't do that with a car like they would with a four-wheeler, with an ATV.
Well, okay, people speed every day. People that are in this room speed every day, 70, 75 mile an hour. You know, if there's not one person in there, we know that that's a line, right?
There's 1% of the population right there. 1%
I don't see.
would do that.
Right.
If that.
If that.
There's
1%
just,
of the population.
Like, there has been no problems in all surrounding counties.
correct, I
That's
checked
fact.
with the sheriff's
So
office.
1% ruins it for
I
everybody.
checked with Jim up here, still no violations since the village opened up in town. There's still no violations. The sheriff's office, no violations.
I have a question then, can they drink and drive on an ATV?
No, you cannot.
Of course not.
And none of us are condoning it, just like a car. But here's the thing, Bonnie. Okay, no, she's not.
You're mistaken.
They are not, just like a car, they are not considered motor vehicles by the DOT, they are considered.
Yes, they are.
But they're government.
They are
They're licensed.
Yes,
They
they
are
are.
licensed.
They're
by the
licensed and they
DNR.
get the
And there is a fine if you're picked up for drunk driving, it's about $452.
I
Which
understand
does
there's
not
a
go on your driving record.
Tractors.
It does not go on your driving record as a DUI, so it does not count.
That's correct, but it does
points.
go on Winona, it goes on the DNR record, and they can revoke their privilege to operate a snowmobile or ATV. I know better than that. I know that to be a
But
fact.
not their privilege to operate a car or a truck. It does not go on your driver's license. That's true. You can look
No,
at
it
the
won't
law.
go on, it won't go on to the last time. I retired 10 years ago from law enforcement. But the thing is, at that point in time, it did not go on here. But they have enhanced those penalties. Now, we're concentrating on one thing. People drink and drive cars and motor vehicles every day.
Which is horrible.
Correct. But it happens. People drive motorcycles every day drunk. People
Yep.
drive snowmobiles when you have snow, drunk every day. People ride bicycles every day somewhere, so they get on a bike and they're drunk. Does that make it right? No.
No, it doesn't. But there's no
That
law
language
against
does not
open
do
intoxicants on a QTV. There's no law on carrying open intoxicants. And the only fine the only thing that can happen is if you're arrested, it goes on your DNR license, but it does not affect your ability to operate a car or a truck.
There's
And
one
that's
thing-
true.
You're not right about that.
I am
Okay.
right
No,
about
you're
that,
not.
Dave, but I
Because it happens
certainly
to be
am.
wrong.
Okay, there's one thing that,
You're wrong.
I'm trying
No, you're
to
wrong.
be reasonable here in the whole thing. But there's one thing that you have said to me in the past, and that is contact your legislature if you don't like it. You've said that, I've heard that several times here. Okay, there's set rules. There's laws for boating, drunk boating. It doesn't go on your driving record as a car. ATV, it doesn't. Okay? But, see, this has all become a mess here right now. It's a mess. We need to move forward. We need to adopt an ordinance. Larry, you can do this as a trial for 2 years or whatever, something like that. You can set that. Get the ordinance going, see how it goes. You can always revoke the ordinance.
I sent you an email today. We're gonna have a couple of special town board meetings while we work out the ordinance. You can come and talk. We have the agenda. We can do an ordinance that everybody's happy with. That's what we're gonna do.
Can I, this bill, he's been out in Las Vegas and this week I've only talked about there, and he got this stuff said, because he's got a secretary or something, that's why.
We're gonna have a couple of.
Can I have that guy come along and visit with me?
Sure, put you on the agenda. We're gonna have some special meetings, so we have something that we don't have to change. And we're gonna try to accomplish that.
Okay, does anybody else have a comment on this?
An ordinance meeting special session that the public's not allowed
Are the ordinance meetings a special meeting that the public's not allowed to?
They can be on the agenda.
But they're not a closed session.
Pardon?
They won't be a closed session.
There won't be any closed session.
There won't be closed
We're
session.
gonna have people come in. It'll be for people
Appreciate
to
your
come and
input
talk
on this.
and.
You've obviously done a good deal of homework here. We have not only the sample ordinance that you sent us, but we've got maybe 8 or 10 others that we'll be looking at. We'll be doing some canvassing, probably, on some of the residents, on some of the town roads to get their input as well. In addition, and we certainly recognize your petition of 195, 197 people. That's why I suggested last fall that we put this up for a referendum.
Right.
The referendum was passed with 2 to 1, something like that anyway. And so the board has responded. We will draft an ordinance, but we're not gonna rush into it and do something haphazard and slapdash, we will do it with as much information as we can gather and try to get it done in a timely fashion.
Can I ask which roads you're thinking about limiting or restricting?
We haven't met yet, we don't know, we haven't met yet.
I have one quick suggestion. When you do talk about limiting and speed limits and everything else, also consider enforcement. Who's going to enforce that you can be on this road, but you can't be on that road in the town, 35 on this road, 25 on that road? A lot of times, things are passed, laws are passed without any idea of how to enforce them. So that's something you're gonna have to look at when it comes to the ordinance. Is a sheriff really gonna look up and see, oh geez, was this guy supposed to be on this road?
Yep.
Because the guy's gonna be gone before he figures it out.
Good point.
Rules
But-
will be posted.
But, you know, on what he's just said there,
Who's gonna post all the roads?
right, on what he just brought up there, that Bill, this fellow I've been talking to, Dave and I, said that exactly, that the sheriff's department, the deputies or whatever, would get so frustrated, they don't even wanna have a darn thing to do with it. And just let it go by, because, okay, you can operate on this road, but you can't operate on this road, you know? And it was so confusing, they still wanna deal with it. That's what some feedback that I got, okay? So,
Do you have to have a legal driver's license to be able to operate an ATV?
with this ordinance, you would have to, and that's the way like the county ordinance is, and the village ordinance, and so on and so forth.
But then again, you've gotta, who's gonna enforce that?
Well, that's the police department's job, that's just like the village here has. Okay, so we talked about the county. I know what it is to have the county respond. I used to work here in the village. You know, something bad's happened, it's 20 minutes to get here, to back you up. But the thing is, the little village has a police department, and they're out there more and more. I see them all the time, moving around. But then James Small says, no arrests, no citations for any ATVs. And I see him at the hardware store, at the gas station, yes, at the bar, different places. But he's saying nobody's been arrested or cited or whatever. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you. Have anything to say?
I don't know, I think there needs to be a whole lot more control over it.
Well, that's why we want to spend time on an ordinance. Second roll. Brian, thank you. Second roll. We'll get to you.
Am I third row, Gary?
You're gonna be, when we done with the second roll. Coming right up. Yep.
I just would actually like to commend the board as well as the fire commission for taking on, the looking and so forth, and then just rolling over and saying, all right, village, we'll take whatever you said. Because it's a lot of work, and, you know, you guys should be commended. I hear a lot of criticism, but not a lot of people saying to you, you know, thank you for at least looking at other options.
The town attorney told us we would not be fulfilling our fiduciary responsibility if we signed the fire contract and went with that program. So we did not do things unadvised either. So, okay, thank you. Next, who's our second row?
I would like to say I agree with Frank, and that most four-wheeler drivers and UTV drivers are responsible, and as other UTV drivers, we would police as much as we could those people. I live on Little Prairie Road, which is currently not legal to do. My daughter lives out towards Highway 80, and she's got a UTV with a snowplow on it, and she would love to come out and plow my driveway, but it's not allowed. She can't go to.
Thank you. Okay, the last row, that would be, you're up.
Literally, two questions. How does the town communicate better with the board of Palmyra, of the village board of Palmyra, and continuously grow the entire community instead of the town or the village.
I don't know, somebody from the committee wanna take that? We have open channels. Our channels are open.
Yes, I'm just saying, is there a plan to say, this is the steps we're going to go through to increase our communication with the village, and the village communicating more with the town, to better communicate the whole to the community of Palmyra?
Bonnie, had met with the village board member, told them to go back to the board and have him or her, whoever it was, to tell the village board that the town would like to converse with them and have some conversation.
Larry, if I might, there's a lot of history here, and a lot of obstacles to overcome. And this board, the current board, is agreeing that we don't have better communication and or cooperation with the village. There have been some joint things that have been done, some joint, the town does support the library, it supports the athletic group, so forth and so forth. But you're absolutely right. The relationship between the village and the town does not have a good history. And so this current board will continue to work to improve on that.
So that,
But it takes two to tango.
so that builds on my second question. This has been the current board for a very long time now. Is there any talks about the board growing in members rather than 3 to 5 or 6 members of the board?
There was talk about that 8 or 10 years ago, but normally municipalities or townships our size just has 3-person board.
A 5-person board would give you the opportunity to communicate with each other without seeing a quorum.
It'd be better, that would be better, Larry, for you, your board period. It would be much more user-friendly. You guys would be more user-friendly if it was a 5-man board. Because you know what? If you wanted to meet Winona up for coffee at the restaurant to discuss a few things, you can do it. Because it's just the 2 of you.
Well, that's
With a 5-person.
generally what we do now is I have a committee, like we have a fire committee, and we have a committee do it, and then they make recommendations, and they know more about a lot of the stuff. We have people on the committee that are negotiators, and we have, people with expertise on committees, and so we do it now.
You understand where
I know where you're going.
Larry, I got a question.
Wait, you're at the end, we're going down the road. You came in late, so we're last. Okay, are you done?
Was that your second question?
Are you done? Are you done?
My second question.
You done?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, you're up.
Do we have, I have no idea, are there any type of lighting ordinances in the township? Because every time the chicken farm builds, the lights are just like a UFO. And obviously lights don't prevent avian bird flu, but, it's just so bright.
It's whatever the county has for lighting, whatever the county ordinances are, but it's difficult to regulate what farms do.
I believe there is some type of, we call it light police, for lighting too bright. I've heard of that.
The town,
We have to buy blackout shades for our whole house, I mean, it's.
I can imagine.
the town,
Yeah, you're right, not that
Oh, yeah.
the town doesn't have any lighting ordinances right now. What we work on what the county has, but it's difficult, like I said, to deal with farms like that. They have like permission.
How about noise? Do we have noise ordinances?
Yeah, we're gonna do a Jake break here in the next meeting, other than, I don't know what type of noise.
nobody will be able to speak at the next meeting.
UTV gunfight?
I mean, it's no big deal, because we're renting here, but reference that subject, nobody will be able to speak about it. You're just gonna talk about it amongst
No,
yourselves.
next, we're having special meetings for UTV and we're gonna have input, okay?
Oh, yeah, okay,
That's why we're having them, so we can have people put input while we're developing the ordinance. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Ma'am, you next? Irene, you're next? 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 Next?
what about the signage, like at the beginning of the roads, like when I came on my way here, I saw a sign over at, Island Drive and Highway E, it said no trucks. Is there any way of re-signing the ones we have like that?
We're buying like,
Are you buying?
we're buying dozens of Class B signs.
Okay. Now, are they gonna mark them, even says no trucks?
I'll
No
talk,
food trucks?
I'll talk to the county and see what we can, if we can get some specific ones. They do have it on Island Road.
Obviously, those truck drivers can't read,
Well, they can't read, no.
so we need to put
We're
signs
gonna
up
have-
that say no through trucks. And it's gotta be bright enough for them to even read it too, because
Right.
like the one at Cooper and Z, that thing's probably older than dirt. You can barely see any of the wording on it.
We're getting new signs and we'll probably put some of the newer ones on, like Hooper Road and that, and then some of the other ones. But we passed an ordinance about 2 months ago. All town roads are Class B roads. And
Yeah.
Class B is 80% of 80,000, 64,000.
Right.
And so all the town roads are 64,000.
How do you put that on Tamarack?
Yeah, we get a lot of.
We get a lot of semis on Tamarack. They come off of Highway 12. It's not Palmyra's ordinance.
Well, not necessarily, no, not necessarily. Remember the sheriff?
And it's not necessarily farming things, they come through here.
Last week at the Monday night board meeting, the sheriff was there and he was gonna send patrols out on the road, didn't he? Took
He
notes?
said, he was at the last meeting at the school and he said they would go out
Yeah.
and patrol. He asked him when he should
I
go.
lived there 6 years, I've seen the sheriff twice. I'm home all the time.
I'm not, you mean an actual sheriff's squad? No, you must be really hiding in your house.
Maybe anytime.
By my house every day.
David?
They don't go by us.
Blaine, you're up.
I'm up.
You're up.
Okay, hey, how many people live in our township per census?
1,200.
1,200?
That's it?
Well, yeah, I'm saying, I mean, if we had 2,500, we could make a rule tonight that we have 5 board members, but we don't, so we can't do that.
So that has to be done by ordinance.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Oh, it can be done, but it can't be done at this meeting.
Correct.
So how do we get that done?
Those guys gotta do it. Yeah, it's just, the board should do it. I'm for it personally, but that's a decision they have to make. And the only reason I'm for it is I served on 3-person committees and it's almost impossible to get stuff done without somebody running up to the district attorney and saying, hey, you broke the law. You know, 9 times out of 10, they're right. You didn't mean to, but it happened. Just makes it real difficult.
What's a reason not to do it?
Normally, smaller municipalities don't, usually if they're over, like, how many they do? 2,500 normally have 5.
Right, but you can, as a smaller municipality, you can have 5.
You can,
Yeah, so why wouldn't you? If it would make it easier for you to do your job
you just haven't,
on behalf of us.
have not investigated that. No one can call it until now.
Okay, so if we call for it, you'll consider it?
Speaking of that, certainly. Okay. You finished? Motion to adjourn? Okay, you need to-
No, we're not done yet. Another meeting. Minutes.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn.
Done with. Smitty's got your drink up there or what? What about this?
Motion's carried. Thank
Look
you
at
all for
this.
coming. Yeah, there's another meeting.
There's the other meeting.
Okay, I'll sit down.
You're here anyway. Good. Sit down and rest your knees. I was tempted to have him read that deal on the referendum again about what it meant. What does it actually say? There's nothing about this road or that road or some roads. It's bullshit. Okay, fuck 'em. You can't fix stupid. There's so much of that in this town. I can't believe it.
Church stuff with land,
Oh, it's gonna go pretty damn. Yeah. No, it's nice.
What?
It's nice.
No, it's cool.
Yeah. You know, you might require somebody with a brain here to have a thermostat that could turn the heat on before the meeting. But but you think maybe with a smartphone you could do that? Not in this group. Okay, well that's it for this meeting.